Fleet Admiral Carolyn Wright stood alone in the dim light of Earth Space Command's main conference room. The wall screen in front of her displayed a countdown timer with less than 5 minutes remaining. She took a deep breath and straightened, her dark blue uniform touching the 4 silver stars on her collar briefly. This meeting would change humanity's future forever. The doors slid open with a soft hiss. President Samantha Martinez entered, followed by Defense Secretary Alan Powell and 6 other high-ranking officials. They took their seats around the large oval table without speaking. The tension in the room felt heavy enough to touch. "Any changes to their approach vector?" President Martinez asked, her voice calm despite the situation. Admiral Wright shook her head. "None, Madam President. The Zentari diplomatic vessel will reach Earth orbit in exactly 4 minutes. They've maintained communication silence since entering our solar system." Defense Secretary Powell frowned. "Typical Zentari power move. They love making us wait." The president nodded slowly. "They believe it puts us at a psychological disadvantage. Let them think that." The wall screen suddenly flashed, showing a massive ship entering Earth orbit. It looked like a giant blue crystal, with smooth surfaces that seemed to shift and change even as they watched. The ship was at least 3 times larger than Earth's biggest space vessel. "They're hailing us," said Communications Director Frank Wilson. He tapped several controls on his tablet. Putting it through now, the screen changed again. A tall, thin alien with 6 limbs and skin so clear they could see the outline of its organs appeared. Its large oval eyes blinked slowly as it regarded the humans. "I am High Commissioner Zexton of the Galactic Council," the alien said in perfect English. Its voice sounded musical but cold. "I bring an official message from the Council to the government of Earth." President Martinez stood. "We are ready to receive your message, High Commissioner." The alien's expression didn't change. It was hard to read alien faces, but Admiral Wright had dealt with the Zentari enough to recognize the look of contempt. "This is the final warning from the Galactic Council to humanity," Zexton began. "Your rapid expansion beyond your home. System violates Council Directive 7291. Your military buildup threatens the peace and stability of this sector. The Council has been patient with your young species, but that patience has reached its end." The alien paused, perhaps expecting the humans to speak. When they remained silent, it continued. "You have 30 Earth days to dismantle all military outposts beyond Mars. You must reduce your fleet by 70%. All ships with offensive capabilities must be decommissioned or converted to civilian use. All research into restricted technologies must cease immediately." Defense Secretary Powell's face reddened, but he kept quiet as the president had instructed. Before the meeting, non-compliance will result in immediate economic sanctions against Earth, followed by corrective action as determined by the Council Security Committee, the alien finished. "We await your official response within 5 Earth days." The screen went blank. For several seconds, no one spoke. Admiral Wright looked at the faces around the table. Some showed anger, others worry, but no fear. That was good. "Defense Secretary?" Powell broke the silence with a dry laugh. "They still don't understand us, do they? 5 years of contact, and they think threats will make us roll over?" "They understand us perfectly," said Intelligence Director Sofia Garcia. "They know exactly what they're doing. The Council has used this same approach with 12 other emerging species in the last century. All of them gave in." President Martinez remained standing, her hands flat on the table. "But none of those species were human, and none of them had been praying like we have." She turned to Admiral Wright. "Carolyn, status of Silent Shield?" Admiral Wright straightened. "Operation Silent Shield is at 97% readiness, Madam President. The hidden fleet is fully operational. The Mars defense grid is online but dormant. The Jupiter and Saturn outposts are fully staffed and on alert. The Titan shipyards are secure. And Project Firewall? Complete and tested. We can shut down any Council ship that enters our space if needed." President Martinez nodded and looked at each person in the room. "The Council believes we're an easy target. A divided planet that only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. They think we'll be grateful for their guidance and accept a future as their client state. She walked slowly around the table. We knew this day was coming since First Contact showed us how the galaxy really works. The Council doesn't want partners. They want resources and subjects. Humans are too independent for their liking. Defense Secretary Powell leaned forward. "What's our play, Madam President?" The diplomatic response? "Yes," she said. "Ambassador Chun will deliver our official statement as planned. We'll express concern, suggest talks, and ask for more time. Standard diplomatic procedure." "And behind the scenes?" Admiral Wright asked, though she already knew the answer. President Martinez's eyes hardened. "We activate Silent Shield immediately. Full deployment. I want our hidden assets ready to move the moment the Council shows its real intentions." She turned to Intelligence Director Garcia. "Contact our allies among the non-Council races. The Arctarians and the Vega Collective should be warned that events are moving faster than expected." "What about the Peace Faction?" asked Health Secretary Linda Brown. "Not everyone on Earth wants to challenge the Council." "The Peace Faction doesn't understand what's at stake," Powell said sharply. "The Council doesn't want peace. They want submission." President Martinez raised her hand to stop the argument before it began. "The decision has been made." The Security Council voted unanimously. Earth will not surrender its independence. We will not dismantle our defenses. We will not stop exploring the stars. She looked at Admiral Wright. "Send the coded alert to all commands. As of this moment, humanity is on a war footing." "Admiral." Wright nodded and sent the command through her secure tablet. Across the solar system, hidden bases and ships would now be preparing for possible conflict. "We still hope for peace," President Martinez said more softly. "We will make every diplomatic effort, but if the Council forces our hand..." She didn't need to finish the thought. The meeting continued for another hour as they discussed details and contingencies. When it ended, Admiral Wright stayed behind with the President. "Do you think they know about Silent Shield?" Wright asked when they were alone. Martinez shook her head. "Our intelligence suggests they have no idea how much we've been building out there. The Council thinks we're decades behind where we actually are. And if they find out, then we'll have to show them exactly what humanity does when backed." Into a corner, the President's voice was firm. "We didn't come this far to be another species that gave up its future because of Council threats." As Admiral Wright left the meeting room, she thought about the ships and crews waiting in the hidden bases throughout the solar system. Humanity had been preparing for this confrontation for years. The Council thought they were dealing with a young, naive species. They would soon learn how wrong they were. Chief Engineer Benjamin Harris wiped sweat from his forehead as he crawled out of the narrow maintenance tunnel. The hidden shipyards of Titan were kept cold to manage the heat from the massive construction projects, but work inside the ships. Engine room was always hot. He checked his tablet and nodded with satisfaction. The new quantum shield generator was operating at 98% efficiency, better than he had hoped. "You look pleased with yourself," said Lieutenant Olivia Martinez as she approached with 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to Benjamin, who took it gratefully. "The shields are working even better than the simulations predicted," he said after taking a long sip. "If the Council ships fire on this vessel, they're in for a big surprise." They both turned to look at their creation through the massive viewport. The UESS Defiance floated in the construction bay, its dark hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. At nearly 2 kilometers long, it was the largest warship humans had ever built. More importantly, it contained technologies that the Galactic Council believed humans were decades away from developing. "Hard to believe we built her in just 3 years," Olivia said quietly. Benjamin nodded. "And the Council has no idea she exists. None of their spy satellites ever detected the construction." A soft alarm chimed on both their tablets. Benjamin frowned as he read the message. "Silent Shield has been activated. We have 24 hours to complete final preparations and be ready for possible deployment." Olivia's expression turned serious. So the council finally made their move. Looks that way. We need to run a final check on the stealth systems and the phase plasma arrays. As they walked toward the command center, Benjamin thought about how much humanity had accomplished in secret. After first contact 15 years ago, Earth had initially celebrated joining the galactic community. That enthusiasm faded quickly when they learned the truth about the Galactic Council. The Council claimed to welcome new species, but in reality, they worked to keep young races dependent and controlled. Humanity had played along on the surface, accepting Council advisors and technology restrictions. Meanwhile, in hidden bases, throughout the solar system, Earth had been preparing for the day when the Council would try to fully subjugate them. The command center of the Titan facility buzzed with activity. Director Elizabeth Nichols stood at the central console, issuing orders to her staff. She nodded to Benjamin and Olivia as they entered. Harris Martinez, good timing. I just received the complete briefing from Earth Command. The Council has given us 30 days to dismantle our defenses and reduce our fleet. Benjamin snorted. Let me guess, they have no idea about any of this? He gestured to the screens showing various secret installations throughout the solar system. Director Nichols allowed herself a small smile. According to intelligence, they think our most advanced ships are the Defender-class cruisers. They have no knowledge of the Defiance or any of the other Phoenix-class vessels. What's the plan? Olivia asked. Ambassador Chun will deliver? Our official response in 5 days? It will be diplomatic, non-threatening, and designed to buy us time. Meanwhile, we bring all our hidden assets to full readiness. Benjamin looked at the main screen, which showed 6 Phoenix-class warships in various stages of completion. The Defiance is ready for deployment. The Valiant and the Intrepid need another week of testing. Director Nichols nodded. Push the Valiant and Intrepid to completion in 3 days. I want all 3 ships ready to move when the order comes. As Benjamin and Olivia left to carry out their orders, they passed a window overlooking another section of the massive underground facility. Hundreds of engineers and technicians worked on weapon systems that officially didn't exist. The phase plasma arrays were particularly impressive, capable of disabling enemy ships without destroying them. Benjamin had helped design them himself, based partly on reverse-engineered Zentari technology. Do you think there will be actual fighting? Olivia asked quietly as they walked toward the Valiant's docking bay. Benjamin considered the question carefully before answering. I hope not. These ships are designed to show strength, not start a war. If the Council sees what we've built, they might reconsider their approach to Earth. And if they don't? Then we'll show them why threatening humans is a bad idea. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out in other secret facilities. On Mars, General Richard Coleman watched as the 103rd Orbital Drop Regiment completed their final training exercises. The soldiers moved with practiced precision in their powered armor suits, another technology the Council thought humans lacked. Time to deployment readiness? He asked his executive officer. 12 hours, sir. All units will be combat ready by 0600 tomorrow. General Coleman nodded. Good, make sure the stealth transports are prepared as well. If we need to move, I want no advance warning for the Council observers. In the asteroid belt, another key. Part of Operation Silent Shield was coming online. Director Sofia Garcia floated in zero gravity beside the central control node of the automated defense grid. Thousands of weapon platforms disguised as ordinary mining equipment had been placed throughout the belt over the past 5 years. System check complete, reported her technical chief. The grid is at full operational capacity. We can activate at your command. Keep it in standby mode, Director Garcia ordered. No energy signatures that might be detected. But be ready to bring it online instantly if needed. Back on Earth, President Martinez met with her inner circle again. The room was secure against any possible surveillance, a necessity given the Council's history of spying on protected races. All Silent Shield assets report ready or near-ready status, Admiral Wright informed them. The hidden fleet will be at full deployment strength within 48 hours. Defense Secretary Powell reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Council ships are moving into position near the outer system boundaries. They're trying to be subtle about it, but our deep space sensors are tracking them. Do they suspect our preparations? Asked the President. Intelligence Director Jordan Beck shook his head. All indications suggest they still believe we're following their technology restriction guidelines. Their ships are positioned for intimidation, not for combat against a prepared opponent. President Martinez walked to the window and looked out at the Washington skyline. I want to avoid bloodshed if possible. The Council has ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They're not used to being challenged. With respect, Madam President, said Admiral Wright, that's precisely why this confrontation is inevitable. They don't know how to interact with species that refuse to be controlled. The President turned back to face her advisors. Then we'll have to teach them. Proceed with the plan. Ambassador Shun delivers our diplomatic response in 5 days. By then, I want Silent Shield fully operational and ready to demonstrate humanity's resolve if necessary. As the meeting ended, Admiral Wright stayed behind briefly. Do you think the Council will back down when they see what we've built? She asked. President Martinez considered the question. The Council has never faced a species that prepared as thoroughly as we have. They expect either immediate submission or reckless aggression. Our measured, calculated response might be enough to make them reconsider. And if it isn't? The President's expression hardened. Then humanity will have to show the galaxy exactly what we're capable of when threatened. Ambassador William Chun studied his reflection in the mirror of his quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel UESS Peaceful Envoy. His formal diplomatic uniform was spotless, the dark blue fabric adorned with the Earth government insignia on the right shoulder. In his pocket was a data chip containing humanity's official response to the Galactic Council. Today was day 29 of the 30-day ultimatum, and the Council was expecting submission. They would be disappointed. A soft chime indicated a message from the captain. Ambassador, we're approaching Arcturus Prime. Council Station has granted us docking permission. Arrival in 20 minutes. Thank you, Captain, Chun replied. He took a deep breath and mentally reviewed the plan one more time. His part was simple enough to deliver Earth's message and observe the Council's reaction. The complex parts would happen elsewhere, carefully timed to coincide with his presentation. The peaceful envoy docked smoothly at the massive Arcturus station. Ambassador Chun was met by a Council security team led by a tall Zentari officer. Follow me, Ambassador, the Zentari said, not bothering with pleasantries. The Council is assembled and waiting. Chun nodded politely and followed. The Arcturus station was impressive. A massive spinning wheel in space with artificial gravity and transparent sections that offered stunning views of the nearby nebula. Council species from across the galaxy moved through the wide corridors, many giving curious or disdainful glances at the human diplomat. The Council chamber itself was a large circular room with tiered seating. Representatives from the 12 major Council species occupied the highest tier, with the Zentari High Commissioner Zexton in the center position. Below them sat delegates from 38 minor Council members. At the very bottom, where Shun was directed to stand, was the area reserved for non-Council species seeking audience. The symbolism was not subtle. Ambassador Chun of Earth, announced the Chamber's automated system. Here to deliver the human response to Council Directive 7291. High Commissioner Zexton looked down at Chun with those unsettling clear eyes. The Council recognizes Earth's representative. You may present your response, Ambassador. Chun stepped forward to the speaker's platform. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, I bring greetings from Earth. Humanity respectfully acknowledges the Council's concerns regarding our development and expansion. He paused, noting the satisfied expressions on many Council members' faces. They were expecting capitulation. Earth's government proposes a diplomatic summit to discuss mutual security guarantees and boundary recognitions. We believe open dialogue will address the Council's concerns while respecting humanity's sovereign rights. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Zentari representatives leaned together, conferring quietly. After a moment, High Commissioner Zexton raised a six-fingered hand for silence. The Council requires immediate compliance with fleet reduction orders before any talks can begin, Zexton said firmly. Your proposal suggests Earth does not understand the seriousness of this matter. Chun smiled politely. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, High Commissioner. My statement wasn't an acceptance of your terms. It was a courtesy. While I speak to you here, Operation Silent Shield has already begun. Confusion spread across the alien faces. Zexton's posture stiffened. Explain yourself, Ambassador. Earth has spent the last 15 years preparing for this day, Chun said calmly. We knew from our first interactions that the Council doesn't accept true equals, you only want subjects. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A junior Zentari officer rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to Zexton, whose clear skin flushed with color. What have you done? Zexton demanded. Chun maintained his diplomatic smile. Nothing aggressive, I assure you. We've simply revealed some of humanity's actual capabilities. The main view screen in the chamber activated automatically, showing space outside the station. There, appearing as if from nowhere, was Earth's 7th Fleet 20 ships that, according to Council intelligence, shouldn't exist. Led by the massive UESS Defiance, they had dropped their stealth fields simultaneously, revealing advanced vessels far beyond what the Council believed humans could build. At the same moment, the station's defensive systems went offline. Communications arrays stopped functioning. Power fluctuated throughout the structure. We've temporarily disabled your weapons and long-range communications, Chun explained. No. One has been harmed, and systems will restore automatically in 1 hour. This is not an attack, merely a demonstration. The Council chamber erupted in shouting. Species across the galaxy had different ways of expressing shock and outrage, but the meaning was universal. Zexton slammed a fist onto the console before him. This is an act of war. The Zentari leader hissed. Chun shook his head. No, High Commissioner. This is humanity informing you of how things will be moving forward. We have no desire for war. We seek only equal standing and recognition of our sovereignty. He nodded toward the view screen where the Earth fleet maintained position, their sleek, dark hulls unlike any Council vessel design. What you see is a small fraction of what humanity has developed while pretending to follow your technology restrictions. We have ships, weapons, and defenses throughout our solar system that your observers never detected. The room had grown, quieter as the implications sank in. A representative of the Vega Collective, one of the minor Council species, leaned forward. How is this possible? Our technology monitoring systems should have detected such developments. Humans are quite good at keeping secrets when necessary, Chun replied. And we're exceptionally motivated when our freedom is at stake. He removed a data crystal from his pocket and placed it on the central console. This contains our actual proposal. Earth will maintain a defensive perimeter, extending to the Kuiper Belt. We will continue our expansion to nearby star systems at our own pace. We invite trade and cultural exchange with all Council species on equal terms. High Commissioner Zexton had regained some composure. And if the Council rejects these terms? Then nothing changes immediately, Chun said. We return to our space. You return to yours. But understand that any aggressive action against Earth or human interests will be met with a proportional response. We don't seek conflict, but we will not surrender our independence. As if to emphasize his point, the station lights flickered. Again, on the view screen, 3 more Earth vessels decloaked, these positioned on the far side of the station. The Council has never faced a species like humanity before, Chun continued. You're accustomed to races that either submit to your authority or react with predictable aggression that you can then punish. Our response is neither submission nor reckless action. A representative from the Arcturian Federation, known for their analytical approach, spoke up. You risk much with this display, human. The Council has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Perhaps it's time for change, Chun replied simply. Humanity doesn't seek to overthrow the Council. We simply refuse to be controlled by it. He bowed slightly to the assembled representatives. I will remain at the diplomatic quarters for 3 standard days awaiting your response. I hope wisdom prevails over pride." With that, Ambassador Chun turned and walked from the chamber, leaving stunned silence behind him. As he made his way back to the Earth vessel, his communication implant chimed softly. "Phase 1 complete," came Admiral Wright's voice. "All systems performed as expected. Council defense grid was neutralized without casualties. Any response from their military?" Chun asked quietly. "Their ships are moving but maintaining distance. They're confused, not sure what they're facing." Chun nodded to himself. Exactly as planned, Phase 2, ready when needed. "Let's hope it won't be." As Chun returned to the peaceful envoy, he looked out a viewport at the Earth fleet maintaining position near the station. The UESS Defiance was truly impressive, its dark hull seeming to absorb the light from the nearby sun. It represented years of secret work, human ingenuity, and determination. The Council had made a critical error in their assessment of humanity. They had mistaken diplomatic patience for weakness and technological discretion for inability. Now they faced a choice. Accept humans as equals or risk a conflict with an opponent far more capable than they had believed possible. Captain Lavra Doyle stood on the bridge of the UESS Dauntless, her eyes fixed on the main viewscreen. The ship was positioned near Neptune, running silent with its advanced stealth systems active. 5 other human vessels formed a defensive line. Alongside the Dauntless, all of them invisible to standard Council scanning technology. "Council patrol fleet approaching, Captain," reported Lieutenant Stephen Grant from the sensor station. 15 vessels, standard formation. Their course. We'll bring them into Neptune's orbit in 27 minutes. Lavra nodded calmly. "Any indication they've detected us?" "Negative, Captain. Their scan patterns are routine. They believe they're alone out here." 3 days had passed since Ambassador Chun's presentation to the Galactic Council. The diplomatic channels had gone silent as the Council debated how to respond to humanity's show of force. Meanwhile, Council military vessels had begun probing movements at the edges of the solar system, testing Earth's defenses and looking for the ships that had suddenly appeared at Arcturus Prime. Lavra had served in Earth Space Forces for 15 years. She had been there for first contact and had watched as the initial excitement gave way to the hard reality of galactic politics. The Council didn't want partners. They wanted subjects. She had volunteered immediately for the Silent Shield program, believing that humanity needed to prepare for this inevitable confrontation. "They're hailing us, Captain," Communications Officer Stephen Grant announced with surprise. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." Lavra raised an eyebrow. "They can't see us." "Why would they hail ships they don't know are here?" "The message appears to be a general broadcast, not targeted," Stephen clarified. "Should I put it through?" "On screen," Lavra ordered. The view screen changed to show the alien commander, a Zentari with military markings on its translucent skin. "Attention any human vessels in this sector. You are in violation of Council space. This system is under temporary Council protection according to Emergency Directive 9118. All unauthorized ships must power down and prepare for boarding and inspection." Lavra almost smiled at the Zentari's tone. The alien truly believed it was in a position of authority here. "No response yet, Captain," Stephen said. "Maintain stealth." "Let them get closer," Lavra replied. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. The atmosphere was tense but controlled. They had trained for years for this moment, practicing countless simulations of possible confrontations with Council forces. "Council ships now entering Neptune's orbit," reported Tactical Officer Gregory Barnes. "Their weapon systems are powered, but not targeting. They're spreading out in a search pattern," Lavra nodded. "They're looking for us." "Interesting that they claim this is Council space now. Their ultimatum period hasn't even expired yet." "Orders." "Captain?" asked her first officer, Commander Jack Wilson. Lavra considered the situation carefully. "The Council is testing us. They want to see if we'll reveal ourselves or if the ships at Arcturus were our entire fleet." She turned to communications. Open a channel, audio only, no visual. Channel open, Captain. Lavra spoke clearly. Council vessels, this is Captain Lavra Doyle of the Earth Defense Forces. You are in Earth territory. Your claim of Council protection is not recognized. You have 5 minutes to reverse course and leave this system. The Zentari commanders. Image reappeared immediately. Human vessel, identify your position and power down immediately. This is your only warning. Lavra cut the transmission with a gesture. They're tracking the signal. Prepare for action. She turned to tactical. Officer Barnes, target their propulsion and communication systems only. Minimal force protocols. Targets locked, Captain. Phase plasma arrays charged and ready. Lavra. Watch the Council ships on the tactical display. They had altered course, converging on the general area where they had traced her transmission. They still couldn't see the Earth ships, but they knew something was there. They're powering up. Weapons, Captain, reported Barnes tensely. Let them fire first, Lavra ordered, but be ready. The lead Council ship launched the first attack, firing energy weapons into the empty space where they believed the human vessel might be. The beams passed harmlessly through the area, missing the actual position of the Dauntless by several kilometers. Now they fired on us in our own system, Lavra said firmly. Disengage stealth systems. All ships execute pattern Omega. The 6 Earth vessels dropped their stealth fields simultaneously, appearing in a perfect encirclement around the Council fleet. The Dauntless led the formation, its dark hull gleaming in the distant sunlight as its weapons systems locked onto multiple targets. Fire, Lavra ordered calmly. What followed wasn't a battle in any traditional sense. It was a demonstration of overwhelming technological superiority. The human ships moved with impossible speed and precision, their advanced shields easily absorbing the few Council shots that managed to hit them. The counterattack was surgical and controlled. The phase plasma arrays fired in perfect synchronization. Beams of blue-white energy struck the Council vessels, bypassing their shields through phase-shifting technology that Earth had developed in secret. Rather than destroying the ships, the beams targeted specific systems, disabling propulsion, weapons, and communications with minimal damage to the vessels themselves. Within 3 minutes, 8 Council ships floated powerless in space, their systems overloaded by the precision strikes. The remaining 7 maintained position, weapons hot but not firing. They've stopped shooting, Barnes reported with a hint of surprise. The disabled vessels are running emergency power only. Life support is stable on all ships. They're hailing us again, Captain, Stephen said. On screen, Lavra ordered. The Zentari commander appeared, its clear skin now flushed with dark colors that indicated stress or anger. What have you done to our ships? We've temporarily disabled them, Lavra explained calmly. No permanent damage has been caused. No crew members have been harmed. Your ships will regain minimal power in approximately 6 hours, enough to return to Council space. This is an act of war, the Zentari hissed. Lavra shook her head. No, Commander. This is a response to your unprovoked attack in human territory. Had you complied with our warning to leave, no action would have been necessary. She gestured to Officer Barnes, who understood the silent command. The tactical display appeared beside the Zentari's image, showing the Council commander exactly what had happened during the brief engagement. Your sensors will confirm that we disabled your vessels without causing serious damage, Lavra continued. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but that is not our intention. Earth does not seek conflict. The Zentari commander stared at the tactical display in disbelief. How is this possible? Your shield technology, your weapons? They're beyond your development level. Your intelligence on human capabilities is outdated, Lavra said simply. I suggest you return to Council space and report what you've seen here. The Council should understand that threats against Earth will not succeed. She turned to communications. Send the full sensor data to all functional Council ships. Make sure their recorders capture everything. The Council needs to understand exactly what they're dealing with. The data transfer took only moments. The Zentari commander watched in silence, mandibles clicking occasionally in what Lavra recognized as a sign of agitation. You may retrieve your disabled vessels and depart, Lavra said finally. Consider this a formal notice that the space around Neptune and all inner planets is sovereign Earth territory. Further unauthorized incursions will be met with similar responses. Without waiting for a reply, she cut the transmission. Resume stealth protocols, she ordered. Let's watch them leave. The Earth ships vanished from visual and sensor detection, once more becoming invisible guardians as the Council fleet struggled to recover their disabled vessels. It took nearly 12 hours for them to gather their crippled ships and begin the slow journey back to Council space. As they departed, Lavra sent a brief encrypted message to Earth Command. Demonstration complete. Council fleet retreating. No casualties on either side. The response came minutes later from Admiral Wright herself. Well done, Captain. Return to base. Phase 3 begins tomorrow. Lavra allowed herself a small smile. Phase 3 was the diplomatic initiative that would reshape humanity's relationship with the Galactic Council forever. The demonstration of strength had been necessary, but it was what came next that truly mattered. 1 month after the Neptune incident, Fleet Admiral Carolyn Wright stood in the same war room where she had first received the Council's ultimatum. This time, however, she was not facing threats but opportunity. Around the large obsidian table sat representatives from 12 different alien species who had broken from the Galactic Council to form new alliances with Earth. The Zentari completely underestimated your species, said Klovash, an insectoid diplomat whose people had long chafed under Council restrictions. His translator rendered his clicking speech into smooth English. They believed humans would either submit immediately or react with reckless aggression that could be easily punished. Your controlled response was unexpected and impressive. Admiral. Wright nodded slightly in acknowledgement. Humans have a long history of resisting control while avoiding unnecessary conflict. We wanted to demonstrate strength without starting a war that would benefit no one. President Samantha Martinez entered the room, followed by Ambassador Chun and several key cabinet members. The alien representatives rose in a gesture of respect that would have been unthinkable just weeks earlier. The president took her place at the head of the table and looked around at the gathered delegates. Thank you all for coming to Earth, she began. Today marks a new chapter in galactic relations. The Human-Allied Cooperative Treaty represents a different approach to interspecies cooperation, one based on mutual respect rather than dominance and control. The large viewscreen on the wall displayed the treaty text, translated into all 12 alien languages as well as English. It established clear boundaries for human space, technology exchange protocols, and mutual defense agreements among all signatories. For too long, the Council has stifled development and exploration by emerging species, continued President Martinez. They claimed it was for safety and stability, but in reality, it was to maintain their own power. This treaty offers another path. The Arcturian representative, a tall blue-skinned humanoid named Zelenov, leaned forward. The Council is not pleased by these developments. They have called emergency sessions every day since your demonstration at Neptune. Some factions are pushing for military action against Earth and any who ally with you, Ambassador Chun smiled slightly. Yet they have taken no such action, have they? Because they now understand that humans are not easily intimidated and our technology is not as primitive as they believed. Still, we must be realistic about the risks, said Defense Secretary Powell. The Council controls vast resources and has military forces throughout the galaxy. This alliance must be prepared for possible aggressive responses. The delegates discussed security concerns for several hours, sharing intelligence about Council movements and developing contingency plans. Admiral Wright was impressed by the cooperative spirit in the room. These species had been kept apart by Council policies, encouraged to compete rather than collaborate. Now they were finding common ground in their desire for independence. By mid-afternoon, the formal signing ceremony began. One by one, representatives from each species added their signatures or equivalent marks to the treaty. Earth was formally recognized as a sovereign power with rights to expand into nearby star. Systems. Technology sharing agreements would allow all member species to advance together rather than being held back by council restrictions. As the last signature was added, a sense of historical significance filled the room. This was more than a diplomatic agreement. It was the beginning of a fundamental shift in how species interacted across the galaxy. The Council has received our final message? President Martinez asked Admiral Wright quietly as the delegates mingled after the ceremony. Yes, Madam President. Ambassador Shin's final communication was delivered to Arcturus Prime this morning. The Council knows that their ultimatum period has expired, and instead of compliance, they have received notice of our new alliance. And our forces? Silent Shield remains at full readiness, but we've made no aggressive moves. Our ships maintain defensive positions only. The Council fleet that was gathering at the Kuiper Belt boundary has withdrawn to their nearest base. They're watching and waiting. President Martinez nodded thoughtfully. They don't know what to make of us, do they? No, they don't, Admiral Wright agreed. The Council has existed for 10,000 years by following the same playbook with every new species. Humans have forced them to write a new one. The President's attention was drawn to a minor commotion at the entrance to the war room. A junior officer had entered and was speaking urgently to Ambassador Chun, who immediately approached the President. Madam President, we've just received a direct communication from High Commissioner Zexton. The Council is requesting a formal diplomatic meeting to discuss, in their words, mutual recognition and non-interference agreements. A murmur spread through the room as the news reached the other delegates. President Martinez allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. It seems the Council has decided that wisdom is preferable to pride after all, she said. Ambassador Chun, please inform the High Commissioner that Earth welcomes dialogue between equals. We will meet on neutral ground of their choosing. The Vega collective representative, a crystalline being named Shirka, approached the human leaders. This is unprecedented. The Council does not negotiate with non-member species as equals. They dictate terms. They do now, said Defense Secretary Powell with a hint of pride, because humanity showed them the alternative. Later that evening, Admiral Wright and President Martinez stood alone at the large viewport overlooking Earth, the blue and white. Planet rotated serenely below them, seemingly unchanged by the momentous events of recent weeks. Yet everything had changed. Humanity had faced its first great galactic challenge and emerged stronger than before. They thought they were dealing with children, Wright observed, watching the distant lights of orbital stations. Martinez nodded, a common mistake when encountering humanity. They see our youth as a species and mistake it for weakness. Will they try again? Wright asked. The Council has existed for millennia. They won't easily accept a shift in the balance of power. Perhaps, the President replied. But now they'll approach with respect rather than condescension. She smiled grimly and will be ready. Wright thought about the fleet of advanced ships now patrolling Earth's expanded territory. She thought about the technological innovations that had been achieved in secret, the defensive systems that spanned the solar system, and the new allies who had joined Earth's cause. Most of all, she thought about the spirit of humanity that had made it all possible, the determination to remain free, the ingenuity to overcome limitations, and the wisdom to use strength with restraint. The Galactic Council sent us a final warning, Wright said quietly. They never expected our answer. No, agreed President Martinez, but they'll remember it for a very long time. In the vastness of space, human ships continued their vigilant patrols, a message to all who might threaten Earth. Humanity answers threats not with fear or blind rage, but with cold, calculated resolve and the technological might to back it up. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where humans would take their place among the stars not as subjects but as equals. The Council's final warning had not subdued humanity. It had unleashed it.